Thank you, Mr. President. Healthcare is the number one driver of inflation in the 21st century. We talk about affordability. Healthcare is the biggest driver of our costs rising in this century. And as a fact of the matter is that the Affordable Care Act is really the Unaffordable Care Act, and it's made it less affordable. That fact is indisputable. I've been in the Senate for less than a year, and I didn't create this problem, but I am here working to be part of the solution. In just a moment, I will ask for unanimous consent to pass my bill, S-3391, the Accountability for Better Care Act. My proposal represents a good faith offer on a short-term basis to extend enhanced premium credits for 2 years. I repeat that. This would extend enhanced premium credits for 2 years, but with reforms that will reduce fraud, lower premiums, and protect long-standing conscious rights for millions of Americans. That's what it does. And before I explain what this common sense proposal does in more detail, I think that it's equally important to express why it's important, why I'm on the floor today. Because I will tell you, over the past few weeks, I have been visiting and getting calls and talking with Ohioans who are very concerned about their rising premium payments. I was in a meeting recently with a pastor who he and his wife are attempting to renew their policy under the ACA. Makes a little over $80,000 a year and is going to see his premiums rise by over $10,000 next year. Had another conversation with a small business owner who indicated with premiums and deductibles that it will take more than 30% of his salary to afford health care. These are just a few examples of the millions of Ohioans and Americans that are worried. That's why we've got to take action. It's long past time to do so. One action we can take today as part of this legislation is to address the fraudulent enrollees under the program, though. It's existed for 4 years, and we know that it's cost taxpayers $27 billion each year. That's a lot of money, a lot of fraud going on in the country right now, and we certainly can't stand by and watch it happen by renewing premiums and not the premium subsidies and not doing anything to eliminate the fraud. We know it's happening. So it's important, if we're going to extend the tax credits, that we fix the problem. And we can do this by requiring everyone receiving a premium tax credit to pay something towards their health insurance that will help realign the incentives and reduce fraud. I offer a modest solution to this. It requires simply $5 on a monthly basis to enroll so that we can combat fraud, so that we can know there's an actual person on the other side of this policy that the insurance companies sign people up for, so that we can eliminate the rampant fraud. And to put this in perspective, a $5 request is simply 16 cents a day to get affordable health care, provided for largely by the taxpayers of this country. That's a pretty great deal for the people who would be enrolled. That requiring this minimum premium will also make certain that Americans cannot be enrolled without their knowledge, because we know that there have been convictions around this country for unscrupulous brokers that sign people up under the ACA enhanced premiums. There have been prosecutions and convictions. We know it's fraud. We can fix it simply by asking people to pay a little bit in return for their largely free health care. We also know that insurers raise premiums on the ACA Silver plans in order to address the cost-sharing reductions for low-income individuals. We know this process is silver loading. In my bill, we will fund the cost-sharing reductions so that we can end the practice of silver loading, the games that insurance companies have been playing. This would lower premiums in the long run by 10 to 20% for lower income individuals, and save the taxpayers between $5 and $10 billion. An important reform to the tax credits. And finally, my bill maintains household premium contributions for most people making up to 400% of the federal poverty level, and it also places an income cap on the ACA tax credit for households up to 600% of poverty, federal poverty line. That's $192,000 for a family of four, because we know under the old system, it would subsidize, people making $20 an hour would subsidize the premiums for people making $1 million a year. No one thinks that's right. Can't imagine anyone does. So we fixed that. And these premium contributions will are gradually increased as individuals earn more wages up to that income cap. This will reduce the sharp cliff that many of these families are facing because of the design of the credits that currently exist or about to expire. I hear constantly from Ohioans that they're worried about their out-of-pocket costs due to failures with Obamacare. We know it doesn't work. Colleagues on the floor have detailed why. My bill creates a soft landing to protect Ohioans and Americans from steep rises in their premiums created by the structural failure of the Obamacare system. I have long said that I believe that there is a way forward with this proposal, that we can protect families from punishing premium costs and address the underlying fraud in the ACA, and to do so in a balanced and thoughtful way. I came to the floor just a couple of weeks ago and outlined this framework in a proposal I called Fraud, Freeze, and Fix. Well, today, this is the manifestation of that as represented by the Accountability for Better Care Act. I appeal to my colleagues on the other side of the aisle that have stated that their goal is to extend the Biden-era COVID bonuses. If that is true, they should support this bill, because it does that. That's what it does. But it also gives Congress a runway to fix and address the drivers of high costs of health care. I will conclude this finally. To my Democrat colleagues, there was a 43-day government shutdown that was extensively supposed to be about extending the ACA subsidies. Well, this is your opportunity to take yes for an answer, because we are extending the ACA subsidies. You get your wish, and we get the accountability we need. And for these reasons, I ask unanimous consent that as if in legislative session and notwithstanding Rule 22, the Finance Committee be discharged from further consideration of S. 3391 and the Senate proceed to its immediate consideration. I ask further that the bill be considered read a third time and passed, and that the motion to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table.